Ah oui, rouge à les bleus. It's from a song I got in this Hoodwinked video. Red is blue. Black is white, white is black. When things are upside down. I want to talk about the law and what I think about the law. When people say that the law is enforced still, and somebody says that the law is taken away, then the first thing they're going to say is, well, then you can do whatever you want then. Why? You can go ahead and shoot somebody. You can rob banks. You can be immoral, and God will forgive you. So you don't have any incentive to do what's good. I'm like, really? So when Jesus tells you that you're loved and forgiven for the things that you do, and that in your conscience you need to feel forgiven, once you're forgiven, right, in your conscience you feel this love that God gives you. And you know that the things that you've done wrong have hurt people around you. And now you have love in your heart. Are you now going to turn around and do those things that you're shameful of? Are you still the person that you used to be? Because the church will keep telling you that you are. The church will keep telling you to look inside yourself and see your sin and feel your guilt and live in your guilt. And when you live in your guilt, you go to Jesus, I'm glad you forgave me, but you didn't really forgive me. I'm just showing how much I must humble myself before you, so this way I can feel forgiven when I don't ever feel forgiven, especially since you keep on telling me to bring up my own sinful nature. Which makes a person into a worm, who turns the divine spark of a person into a shameful thing, that lives a shameful life. Or one that cleans oneself up so that it can step on other people in its pride and its anger for being stepped on. You want to take a look at psychology? Look at narcissism. It's self-love. Well, what happens is that you don't love yourself enough. And other people, when you try to please other people and try to make and do things that are good so people will look up to you, what you're looking for is approval from people. And you never have any approval, so what do? You become angry inside, and then you start to be the person that makes other people feel like they're not worthy of you. This is what narcissism is, okay? This is you trying to control how God or how other people or how you're going to feel loved. When you can't control your own feeling of love because you can't get away from the fact that you feel unloved. And so now the church is telling you to feel unloved. When Jesus told you, well, that's a lie. Jesus said, I love you unconditionally, and it doesn't matter to me. I love you anyway. If you can't get that lie out of your head, you'll become a Pharisee. You'll become the very people that used you, whatever way you were used. So that's why I know that your salvation has nothing to do with your choice. Because if it does, then that means that you have some sort of control of your holiness before people, so that this way you can control how much God loves you or how much your fellow man loves you. And when bad things happen after you do good things, you can be angry at God for him not loving you. The truth of the matter is, it's all in your head. You never knew God's love to begin with. This is why when you come to Jesus and say to him, oh God, didn't I do this for you and didn't I do that for you? I feel so good about myself because now I'm allowed to love myself on the merit of my own works. And Jesus said, I never knew you. You might think you would get that. Lordship Calvinists, I believe that you can't control your own destiny, because to believe that is to know that is to humble yourself enough to accept the love of God. Any religion that tells you that, well, you're saved, but we don't know that you're saved, but requires that you do some sort of work to show that you're saved, is you trying to prove to yourself and to God by your works that you can get to heaven. When you come before Jesus, he never knew you. You never accepted Jesus, because Jesus means God saves. It doesn't mean that you save yourself. Now let's take a look at the secret really quick. These people who tell themselves that they are God. Same concept. They believe that they can manipulate themselves to make themselves good enough for the world to be able to give them gifts and shower them with gifts. Same concept, same lie, repackaged in a way that he takes God out of the picture and says that you're God, which is what Satan said. I'm God. I'm going to control how much I'm loved by how good a job I do at persecuting other people. This is the same lie. This is how governments take over and how people feel obligated to make other people feel like trash. And those people feel obligated and hateful towards those rulers. And it goes on and on throughout history. The only answer is the cross. This is why the Bible is correct. Not because I think that every single story in the Bible is absolutely correct. I could care less. I see the big picture here, so it's not necessary for the Bible to be absolutely perfect. You'd say, well, how do we get truth? Here's how I know we get truth. I saw James arguing with Paul over the legalism of the law that brought them under bondage that God put them under. To show them that living by the law is actually the same thing as the secret. This is the same thing as Gnosticism. It's the same thing as Arminianism. Yes, you choose. You need to keep yourself in God and show that you love God. It's all about the show of how much you love God when you can't show him anything. God already knows that if you're doing that, you don't really love him. The only way to love him is to know that he loved you first. We love him because he loved us first. I've said this over and over again. And I want you to understand that I don't believe in Arminianism and I don't believe in Lordship Calvinism, which tells you that God saved you from the beginning of time, but you need to see some sort of works to show your salvation. Right from the book of James, by the way. The same thing with the Arminian. Well, there's got to be a book that balances it out. There's all this grace in the Bible. There's got to be a book to bring us back to reality. Yeah, reality. The reality is you're bringing yourself under the Antichrist. It was the very thing that the cross destroyed. Self. So when Arminianism tells you that it's your choice, when everywhere in the Bible it all talks about what God's will is. It doesn't talk about what your choice is. Well, how do you love yourself? You love yourself by knowing you're loved. You don't love yourself by trying to show everybody how much you need to be loved or how good you are. Hello? God bless.